back to the Self Discovery Hour, where we unpack the layers of identity and explore what makes us, well, us. I'm your host, Christian Marie and Santo Domingo, and today we're going on a slightly longer journey, deep dive into my personal theory of self. Get ready to reflect. Let's kick things off with a bit of philosophy. It's like laying the foundation for a house, you know. Think about Socrates, urging us to know thyself. That's a lifelong quest, right? And Plato with his ideas about the soul and the body being separate. It makes you wonder, which part is really me? Then comes Descartes, with I think, therefore I am. That really emphasizes the power of our minds in defining who we are. But what about Hume, who questioned whether we even have a consistent self? He suggests that we're just a bundle of perceptions. That's a bit unsettling, but it also opens up the idea that we can change and evolve. Well, personally, I lean towards Kant's view, which tries to bridge the gap between rationalism and empiricism. He suggested that our minds actively shape our experiences. So in a way, we're co-creating ourselves with the world around us. Now, let's step into the social world. George Herbert Mead's theory of the social self is huge. He basically said that we learn who we are through our interactions with others. We take on roles, internalize expectations, and develop a sense of self based on how others see us. Growing up in Calzada was Albay. That was especially true for me. Family is everything here. There's this strong sense of obligation and interconnectedness. Values like bayanihan and pakikisama aren't just nice ideas. They're woven into the fabric of daily life. I remember when our neighbors gathered to rebuild a family house after a fire. Everyone brought what they could. Some cooked meals, others carried wood or offered tools. I was young, but helping alongside my parents made me realize that bayanihan isn't just about physical labor, it's about shared care. That experience taught me that belonging means showing up for others, especially in times of need. And it really taught me that my identity isn't just about me, it's about my role in the community. Building on that, culture is like the water we swim in. It shapes us without us even realizing it. Filipino culture, with its mix of indigenous traditions, Spanish colonial influences, and American pop culture, is incredibly rich and complex. I think one of the biggest cultural influences on my self-perception is the concept of hiya, a sense of shame or embarrassment. It can be a good thing, keeping us in check and encouraging us to be considerate of others. But it can also be limiting if it prevents us from expressing ourselves or taking risk. I've learned to navigate that tension by taking time to understand where each expectation comes from and deciding which values truly align with who I am, rather than who I'm expected to be. It's an ongoing process, but it helped me develop a stronger sense of self-awareness. Let's zoom in on the psychological perspective. William James, me self and I self, are super helpful for understanding how we think about ourselves. The me self is all the stuff we associate with ourselves: our body, our possessions, our relationships, and our values. The I self is the part that does the thinking and feeling. I also find Erik Erikson's stages of psychosocial development fascinating. I'm currently in the intimacy versus isolation stage, and it's definitely influencing how I see myself and my place in the world. I'm learning that real connection requires vulnerability, that building meaningful relationships means showing up as my authentic self, even when it feels uncomfortable. I've been reflecting a lot on my relationships. It made me realize that genuine connection isn't about finding people who are exactly like me, but about creating spaces where both people can grow together. Learning to balance independence with closeness has helped me understand what truly means to love and be loved. So, putting it all together, here's my personal theory of self. I believe that self is a dynamic, ever evolving narrative that we construct through our interactions with the world, our reflections on our experiences, and our ongoing negotiation between our inner desires and external expectations. It's like we're all writing on our own life stories, and we get to choose the genre, the characters, and the plot twist. But we're also influenced by stories that have been told before us. The philosophical ideas, the cultural norms, and the social expectations. For me, the key is to be aware of those influences and to consciously choose which ones to embrace and which ones to challenge. It's about being authentic and true to yourself, even when it's difficult. I can't talk about the self without acknowledging the physical and sexual dimensions. Our bodies are an integral part of our identity, and how we feel about our bodies can significantly impact our self esteem. Growing up, I often struggled with how I looked, comparing myself to others and feeling like my body wasn't good enough. Over time, I've learned to see my body not as something to criticize, but as something to care for and appreciate. It carries my strength, my stories, and everything that makes me who I am. I've learned that beauty is subjective and that self acceptance is far more important than conforming to social standards. So, there you have it, my 8-minute deep dive into my personal theory of self. It's a work in progress, of course, but I hope it's given you some food for thought. Remember, the journey of self discovering is a lifelong adventure. Embrace the challenges, celebrate the triumphs, and never stop exploring. I chose to present my theory in a podcast creative format because it allows for a more engaging and accessible way to communicate complex ideas. Podcasts combine storytelling, tone, and conversational dialogue, which can make an abstract theories feel more relatable and encourages listeners to connect emotionally with the topic rather than just the process.